Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Ripple Effect Podcast. We are so glad that you've joined us today. Whether you're watching this online or listening to it, we are so glad that you have joined us. This podcast is a chance for us to give you some behind-the-scenes information about things going on at church and things going on at the ministry here at Timberlake Christian Church. So we hope that this week's episode will be encouraging for you. I am joined in the studio today by Brian Sevitz, and if you're not watching this, he's wearing shorts today, and his legs are out and proud, and he just told me that he wanted to wear shorts because he didn't want to have to take his pants off. Please explain.
I had to go to my knee appointment, 6-month appointment. Most of you know I had a meniscus transplant, and just so you know, I've been cleared to gradually get back to jogging, cycling, all that. So
Hopscotch, all the things.
But if you wear shorts, you get to stay fully clothed.
You don't have to take your pants off. So that's why Brian's white legs are out. And also joining us in the studio today is Saul, or Salonique. Thank you for joining us today. He is all here from Haiti. When did you even arrive? When did you get to the States?
I arrived in the States on the 13th of April.
13th of April.
I landed in Cincinnati.
Okay, all right. Well, we're going to get to him here in a little bit and talk about his ministry and why he's here. But first, we have to give you the sponsor of the week. The sponsor of the week this week particularly is Speaker Cables. This is actually not a speaker cable.
I was going to say, that's a microphone.
This is a microphone. But the people listening don't know that.
Yeah, right.
We have embarked this week on a quest, a task to try to fix our speakers that have been broken for a little while, if you don't know that, and our lighting, which has been going crazy. So we'll hopefully get at least one of those things done this week. And we always need some cables and some wires. So.
Yeah, we have new speakers, or they're not brand new, but new to us. They were from a company that had to shut down during COVID, so we got a really good price on them, and they're hanging up there. They're not all. We're gonna work on them some more in a little while. Hopefully, we get them fine-tuned for Sunday.
Yeah, yep. So that is the sponsor of the week, and hopefully one of these days we will be sponsored by a production company and get all the free stuff. This past Sunday, if you missed it, I would highly encourage you go back and watch the video. We had a student-led Sunday where our students led everything from the welcoming, the greeting, the tech, even to the music and the preaching. And we had 3 students who did a wonderful job. Nene Owen and Brady Bowman and Levi Harper did a great job speaking. We had a couple students on the stage also helping with the music. Mackenzie Johnson, Kirsten DeFreitas, Brennan.
Douglas.
Thank you, Douglas. I was there. Anyway, it was a fantastic service. How was it for you, Brian, watching these kids replace us? Did it hurt at all? It hurt me a little bit.
Well, I said it was when I was at practice, and it is fun to just get to mix sometimes, to be honest, and to work on the tech stuff. But I was sitting out there, and they finished a song and I was going to have to leave. Well, you were there. And I was like, seriously, this is really good. I'm not just saying that. It was honestly the quality probably a little better than some of our weeks when we don't get enough practice or whatever. And of course, they've been practicing all semester. Yeah. They didn't know all semester we were going to give them that Sunday, but they had been practicing. And of course, they do music on Wednesday nights every other week or every 3 weeks or something like that. So I said yesterday in our little live video, we're just so proud of all of them, not just the musicians, but the whole crew. I mean, the kids ran almost everything from the moment people got in the parking lots, or I say kids, but the student ministry. And I think people were just blown away with the quality of everything.
Yeah, even the greeters were fantastic. They didn't miss people. They were pouring coffee for people. It was just...
I was in the booth. I called myself executive producer. And I was joking around with Sammy Stolt. I was like, well, when I get just a little bit older, this is going to have to be my full-time job because I'll be too old to actually lead the music, and I'll be the executive producer. Because I don't mind that role. I don't want to do it all the time quite yet, but it was fun, and I have some pictures I'll try to throw on here too for those that actually watch it. I will tell you, Sunday, one of our speakers used a little clip from The Office, and YouTube banned our video.
They did. They kicked it off
because of the video. So you have to go to Facebook if you're trying to watch it now.
Yeah.
So
No, it was great, and to see students interact and engage that way just shows you. For me, it was just brought so much hope. You know, we talk about how lost the world is and how dark things can be, but there's also a lot of good and a lot of joy. And when you see students who are excited about Jesus and passionate about God, using their gifts and talents to serve, it was just great. So with that said, we're going to be doing that probably more throughout the years, and so be looking forward again to whenever we have another student-led Sunday, because it was great. Okay, let's give you the quick top 3 things that you need to know, the TLCC top 3 announcements for the week that you need to be prepared coming up. Brian, why don't you take the first one for Friday night?
All right. Friday night, Parents' Night Out. We've been talking about it. We're just reminding you because you do need to sign your kids up early so that they make sure they have enough food, helpers. They're providing dinner, so it's 4. You can drop your kids off anytime between 4 and 8. So you have to pick them up by 8. And you can drop them off.
It's starting 4 hours.
Yeah.
They're doing it for 4. I was blown away.
And dinner is included. And here's the thing. They're not giving a set price, but it's not free childcare either. I mean, they're trying to raise money for our student ministry. Like CIY is over $300 per kid. And so I know it's very helpful for, our family, a lot of families, to have a little bit of fundraiser money, and so those kids get to split it between all of them that help out.
So when you're thinking about what to give, just think, how difficult is your child, and how much would you be willing to pay for someone else to watch them? That's what you have to think.
Yeah.
This coming Sunday, May 7th, is the deadline for the early bird registration for camp. So if you have a child in your home that you're sending to church camp, if you want to get the early bird, which is the cheaper pricing, that ends on the 7th. So make sure that you get your forms. You can get them here at TLCC. You get them at Timberlake here, or you could go online at White Oak Christian Service Camp, and you can fill out the forms there as well.
Yeah, I should back up. Parents' Night Out, to sign up early, you can either do it on the app, or you can go to our website, find the event, the link's there. We posted it yesterday, I think, on our Facebook page too, the link. So you can find that easily. Camp is whiteoakchristian.org, and they have online registration and payment. So if you like to pay by a card, you can do it all online. So
good. And then the last thing we just want to remind you of is the welcome lunch, which is happening this Sunday. For anybody that's newer to the congregation, or maybe you just haven't connected with some people here, it's a great first step for you to meet some of the ministers, have a free meal, and learn a little bit about the church. That's also great if you've invited friends or neighbors to the church and they're wondering what's the next step for them. You can encourage them, hey, go to the welcome lunch, you'll learn a little bit more and help get connected to the church. That happens this Sunday after the second service. Okay, let's get to our spotlight of the week. He's been yawning over here, but that's because he's been busy working.
I'm so sorry about that.
Don't even worry about it. He's tired. He's been traveling the world. Salonique, tell us, if somebody doesn't know anything about you, and you have 30 seconds to tell them, who are you, what would you say?
I'm Salonique from Haiti, a preacher of the gospel.
He doesn't need 30 seconds. So, Salonique's story started years ago with a man by the name of Mr. Green.
Yes.
Mr. Fred Green.
Yes.
And he met you. Where were you in Haiti then?
In Haiti.
He met you in Haiti, and then he just said, I want you. How did that relationship start?
Oh, it started in a wonderful way. It was in March 1994. And he went to Haiti for the first time, and I was assigned to him as translator. And after one of the morning services, with teaching sessions, we had two sessions. One in the morning, like from 8 to 12 and one in the afternoon from 2 to 5 or 6, depending on how the situation was. And during the break, we were in the hotel balcony. And we were talking, and he said to me that in a few years, he will not be able to come to Haiti. He would like to make it possible for me to come to the U.S. to be trained so that whenever he will not be able to do his work in Haiti and I can continue on.
Mm-hmm.
And that was 1994.
How old were you then?
Oh, I was 22, I believe. 22 or 23. 22.
22.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then you eventually came to the U.S.
Yes, 3 years later in 1997,
Mhm.
It was November, I landed in Kansas City, Missouri.
Was
and
it
it was, at that
cold?
time, it was Kansas City, Missouri.
It was misery.
It was extremely cold for me. There was snow all over.
Mhm.
In fact, one of the things that I may never get over is because when I was getting out of the airport, you know, those doors, they don't ask you, wait for you to open, they open.
Mhm.
And that cold wind hit me in my chest. And I run right back inside the airport. And I think, what I'm doing here?
Yeah. What in the world? Wow. So then you trained at the Christian college here in Mobile.
Yes, I was trained at Central Christian College of the Bible, one of the best training institutions that we have in the Brotherhood of Bible colleges.
Mhm.
And I was trained under some of the best, Dr. Reese, Dr. Pelfrey, Dr. Fincher, and the great Dan Chance, all
Uh-huh.
those good guys, and Mr. K,
Yep.
and the rest.
And then when did you go back to Haiti full time? Because you continued your education for a little while. When did you go back full time to
Yeah.
Haiti to work?
Upon my graduation, I went to Cincinnati Christian University. I returned to Haiti full time. It was the summer of 2002.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So what I want to know is you had a relationship with Jesus before you met Fred Green.
Yes.
How did you fall? What was that story like? How did you meet Jesus? How did you fall in love with him? When did you give your life to him? You already had a passion for him before all that happened. How did you develop a relationship with Jesus?
I was very blessed to have been born in Haiti in a Christian family.
Mm.
Now, most people will be born in a voodoo family, but I was extremely blessed. My parents, both my mom and dad, were already Christians, and that's how my path started. But it was in December 1985, I took my personal decision to be a follower of Jesus Christ. And it was at that point not my mom God, not my
Yeah.
mom Jesus, it was my own Jesus.
Is yours.
Yes.
That's good. That's great. So then you go back to Haiti and you're now working for a ministry there, or do you start a ministry? What did you do?
Yeah, and we started, when I said we, it's we. It was my wife and I, Dad Green and Mom Green, Janice Green, some of the listeners would know. We launched Living Water Christian Mission. Actually, the name of Living Water Christian Mission was born in the basement of Miamitown Church of Christ in Miamitown, Ohio.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Because we were debating what name to give.
Huh.
And since at that time we were heavily thinking about providing drinking water, and Mom and Jane come up with the name. Why not we call it Living Water?
Living Water.
And so the name stick, and we use John 4:10 as the text backing up the name. So actually the name Living Water comes from the mouth of Mom Jane Green.
Wow. That's amazing. So your vision then when you started was we're going to focus more on providing clean water for these areas and also doing a church, or what was the vision?
Oh, the primary thing was to plant church,
Mm-hmm.
and every church we plant a school,
Mm-hmm.
and we would do our best, if it's possible, to provide pure water to people.
So, go ahead.
Unfortunately, we have not been successful in the area of providing pure water.
Mm-hmm.
We have drilled well in several areas, true, but the installment to purify the water, we have not done that yet.
Mhm.
In fact, during COVID, we were really wish we had that section of the ministry already in place, and we are behind. We need to catch up about that one.
Well, you've been busy. It's not like you've been lazy. So you haven't done that one well, but it started with 4 people.
Yes.
What does Living Water Ministries look like today?
That's beyond our explanation.
Hey, Brian, what does Living Water look like?
Maybe Brian can give it.
If we're asked to go out to churches, we always start with the church planting efforts, because our kind of slogan, our mission statement or whatever, talks about relieving both spiritual and physical poverty, and so they always do those things together. And so the churches are first, schools always follow closely behind. White Mountain is just taking longer because of all of the crazy legal stuff and everything up there. But it should have been a long time ago.
Long time ago.
Anyway, and then on the physical poverty relief side is everything from the clinic to feeding program, where they attempt to feed all the students and teachers, and then a lot of other humanitarian things. But now, we're getting into the orphanage, which is not quite open.
Really, on a daily basis, it's not an exaggeration to say that Living Water serve over 50,000 people.
Yeah.
Because when you take, if we talk,
He said 50,000 people.
Yeah.
Just so everybody hears that.
yeah, when we take human contact,
Mm-hmm.
we probably 3,000 to 4,000
Mhm.
on a daily basis. But when we take into consideration the radio station,
Mm-hmm.
which serve my city alone has 300,000 people,
Mm-hmm.
so in the city, among the Christian community, we are the most listened radio station.
Mhm.
That's not an exaggeration.
Mm-hmm.
And we do not serve only Grenade. We serve, the radio station serve about 6 different states. So it covered the Department of Artibonite, Northwest, North, Need, Gradins. Lots of people listen on a daily basis.
We're driving, when Todd and I were there last time, several times we'd be driving, and for some reason Haitians run their radios very loud. You can hear them and this isn't like subwoofers pumping, like
Yeah.
talk radio 4 times as loud as we would ever listen to it. I don't know what that's about, but anyway,
It's the culture.
several times we would just drive up to another car, and he'd be like, they're listening to our radio station.
That's great.
Yeah, you walk into a restaurant, you walk into a bank, a market, and it's
on.
it's on. And we are not talking Christian people. It's anybody. Yeah.
So, starting out as a church, continuing to a school, working on getting an orphanage, a radio station, feeding those that are needy. When you were 22 years old and you hear Fred say, I want you to come and train, did you ever imagine your ministry and what God has done through you would look the way it does now?
Not at all. Not at all. There are aspects that has always been on my mind. A holistic congregation, I always think that's a necessity for church today. But all the different details, the growth, the amount of people God is impacting through us, it's beyond what we could have thought back then. It was in 2003 we had in mind that At one point we'll launch a university, but we didn't know it would be 2023. But God has launched that section of the ministry this year, and it's going pretty well.
Good. What would you say to someone who God has put a desire on their heart to serve or to do something that they feel is bigger than themselves, and they're a little nervous to take that first step?
If it's not bigger than yourself, it's not from God. It has to be bigger than yourself so that you can be fully relying on God. Because anything that you can manage by yourself, it's not big enough.
Not from Him.
No.
How have you changed? I'm sure you've changed through the years with all that you've seen and all that God has done. What would you say are some of the biggest changes God has done in you through the years of ministry?
The first one is to stop relying on myself.
Oh, that's it? That's easy. No. No.
That was not easy.
No.
In fact, in the process, I almost died. Because when I was in Central Christian College of the Bible, it was hard for me to have to ask for a ride even to go to Walmart or to go back then Union Avenue Christian Church. In fact, it was so difficult for me to keep asking for help. One Sunday, it was a winter, I decided to walk from campus to the church.
Stubborn.
Very.
You're stubborn. Okay.
And I almost froze. I wish I remember who rebuked me that day, because somebody was running late to church and cut me on, and she gave it to me. And she was right.
She was right.
She was absolutely right. And at that time, I start getting, I need to let go. Let go. And it was really March 1998, I really given up. Because at that point, I thought it was a mistake from God to drop me here. And that specific day was a Sunday. And I said, God, you made a mistake to have me here. And the CCCB choir was performing that night at UA. And one of the songs I will never forget, God is too wise to be mistaken. That very day,
He spoke to you.
He spoke to me. Yeah. And from that moment, it was a total transformation.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, I wish we could keep talking all day, but if you are in the area or anywhere close, you're going to want to be here Sunday, because Salonique is going to be preaching, and I'm excited for that. Any chance I get to sit and learn from people that are men of faith and that do an amazing job is a good day. So he's going to be preaching on Sunday, and we are excited for that. Brian, do you have any last questions you want to ask real quick? There's so much more we could say.
So we'll just leave it to, I've heard a lot of these things so many times, but I'm excited because in the 3 or 4 years, I don't remember, we were saying yesterday when he had preached here last, and I don't really remember.
Well, the last time I was here, this was when you were coming in.
And you said a little something on the stage, but you didn't preach.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I've regretted that since then, because I'm like, he should have preached.
No.
So this time I'm like, he's absolutely preaching. He's absolutely preaching.
We have, so many new families since then that for a long time I feel like most people in this church knew you. And that is not the case, so I'm excited for them to get to hear from you.
Well, many churches changes.
Yeah, and that's a great thing.
Living water we have today is not the same one we had 5 years ago. So it's a great thing.
Yeah. Real quick, when you say holistic church, what did you mean?
Oh, we are not only seeing things from the spiritual side.
Oh, okay, so taking care of spiritual and physical. Yeah, okay, yeah. That makes sense. Well, if you want to learn more about Living Water Ministries, Brian, where can they go check it out?
Well, livingwaterchristianmission.org, and then if they're here on Sunday, or even if they're not, they could shoot us a message. We have about every month we send an email update, and then periodically we also send print updates. We'll try to hand out some of the printed ones this week to people who are here. But that's probably the best information that people get is through the update emails. He shares pictures about every month of progress. And then my letters share some of those things and give people kind of the most urgent giving needs, because all of these things take hundreds of thousands of dollars. And my, little piece of this mission is the forwarding agent job, which, it's not a little piece, but in terms of the whole operation, it's pretty small.
He's downplaying him.
Well, but
that's not good.
It is big, but the level of stress and stuff I'm under isn't anything like when we go there and see everything that's happening on the ground. It's certainly a whole different level of stress, just feeding all these people, keeping them paid, dealing with the unbelievable unrest of just Haiti in general right now. So, our family is happy to be a part of it in that way, but we do funnel all the donations. And when I read these newsletters, the hat I always have on is, oh my, there's another $120,000 we need. And we don't have $1 of it yet. And he just said, we're going to do this.
We're going to do
it.
Now the question is, has those things been done?
I can tell you almost every one of them is either in progress or completed.
Yep.
And that's part of we talked about this, I think, a few weeks ago in the lead team here, that if we aren't, it's basically duplicating what you just said a while ago in a little different way. If we aren't doing things that are bigger than ourselves, we're probably not fully fulfilling God's will.
Yep.
And that's what you just said to us in it as well. And I admitted I'm a person that does like to know the end before I begin it. And every single thing they do, they have no clue of the end. When they start laying those bricks, they don't know even when the third layer of them can be laid sometimes, but they start because they know that God said do this. And I said maybe that's what we need to start doing, is when we know God wants us to do it, pour the concrete pad, and a few years later it'll probably be done one way or the other. So.
That's great.
Last year when we started the building for the university, I didn't even tell you about it.
Right.
Because I said, I have no explanation.
Logical. You can't convince him.
No. But now it's already in function.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, we're very excited, and we hope that you will be excited as well. Let me leave you with a piece of scripture from the book of 1 Timothy. I had this in mind when we were doing the Youth Sunday, and I think it fits well when we talk about trusting in God and having faith in Him as we do things. The Apostle Paul writes these words to Timothy. He says, "Do not neglect the gift that you have been given, which was given to you by a prophecy when the council of elders laid their hands on you. Practice these things so that all might see your progress." And what he says just before that gives light to what he's telling him to do. What are things should he practice? Well, in verse 12 it says, or verse 11, this is 1 Timothy 4, verse 11. "Command and teach these things. Let no one despise you or look down on you for your youthfulness, but instead set an example. Set for the believers an example in speech and in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity." Whether you're 22 or some of our students on Sunday were very young, or maybe you just feel like you're not at a place where you need to be yet spiritually, the place where Paul encourages us to start is to set an example by our own behavior first. And if we can trust in God first with our own life, then He can lead us anywhere and He can accomplish anything. So that's your encouragement for today. Don't let anyone look down on you, whether you feel you're too young in the faith or literally too young of age. Remember, set an example. You set the example by your life, how you live, by your conduct, by your speech, and by doing so, you can represent Christ well. So make sure this week to keep that in mind as you're going about your life and about your work and in your family. You get to set the example, and in doing so, prove you are following Jesus as his disciple. We love you guys. We hope you have a great week. Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of the Ripple Effect Podcast, and we'll see you on Sunday.